30-day action plan. So let me just explain what we're doing so while everyone comes on board. So we're looking at bold brand leadership, a 30-day bold brand leadership action plan. So we're looking at 30 action steps to design, deploy, and dominate your field as a brand leader. So my name is Rachel Quilty. I'm a brand strategist, and I'm going to walk you through 30 vital action steps to establish your brand leadership in your field and leverage your personal brand to position your brand as the authority. So we have looked at action step number 1, discover your existing brand leadership, and action step number 2, looking at your target audience. And so today we're looking at your true brand, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit more. So what we're doing over the next 30 days is we're looking at day 1 to 10 is phase 1, and we're looking at brand yourself action plan. Day 11 to 20 is phase 2, brand yourself the expert. Day 21 to 30 is brand yourself the authority, and that is phase 3. So sounds like a lot. We're going to cover a lot of action steps over that time, but we're looking at 3 phases. So we're looking at 10 action steps within each phase. And the one thing that I want you to remember is that personal branding is a prerequisite to success. Let me say that again. The only thing you need to remember is that personal branding is the prerequisite to success. So it underscores and underpins everything. It is a foundation to every iconic brand and every iconic personal brand. And obviously, bold brand leadership, when we look at some of our iconic brands and iconic leaders, it was really because of who they were and that they embodied their true brand and their true brand values. So we're going to look at that. So phase 1, brand yourself action plan, really provides you a solid understanding of what steps are needed to build a significant and successful brand. And like I said, we talked about action step number 1, discover your existing brand leadership. Action step number 2, determine your brand target audience. And action step number 3, define your true brand leadership. Action step number 4, dominate your field as a brand leader. Action step number 5, design your unique leadership. Action step number 6, develop your brand's strategic style. Action step number 7, devise your brand leadership plan. Action step number 8, decide your desired brand leadership outcomes. Action step number 9, deploy and disseminate your brand message. Action step number 10, deliver your brand leadership promise. So just by way of a disclaimer, this presentation, the tutorials that we do each day, are intended to provoke your thinking, challenge you to review and rebuild and re-engineer your brand leadership. So I will provide opinion based on research. This is not legal advice, nor is there any guarantees of income. And so no income is derived from any of the companies or organizations that I might mention. And if there is a link or a merchant supplier that I'm recommending or suggesting, then I will advise you at that time. So like I said, the thing that we need to remember when we're looking at this bold brand leadership is that underpinning that is personal branding is the prerequisite to the success of any iconic brand. So just by way of introduction, let me introduce myself. So I'm Rachel Quilty, a brand management consultant and personal brand strategist at JumptheQ Inc., a brand consulting firm operating in both the US and Australia with students and clients globally. So that's where I am now. By way of background, my first 10 years of my career, or first 15 years, was around consulting, industrial relations, consulting, crisis management, business and employment law, management systems, putting in place fairly extensive management systems for various companies, drafting management HR systems, customer service systems that were industry-wide. So they were introduced into several thousand companies within the construction industry. So managed a lot of industrial action, industrial disputes, safety disputes, and obviously had a role in advocacy within the commissions and the industrial relations courts. So I have been in some of the most highest, I'm saying a little bit here, some of the highest and most significant industrial matters in Australia. So it's only when you look back that you realise that it's quite significant. Some of the precedents that were set within some of those cases are still being quoted today. And look, more recently, what I've been doing is obviously brand communication plans, content creation, but I've also qualified as a director and filmmaker, and I've been working with various other directors and filmmakers, and we've created a lot of little short films and mini documentaries and interviews. And so I've, in a way acted as an independent producer as well, because I've been doing a lot of submissions and lobbying for funding. So that's been good. So look, let's dive back into the presentation and let me explain what I mean by brand leadership. And I think one of the best definitions that I found was Harvard Business Review. A leadership brand conveys your identity and the distinctiveness as a leader. Let me say that again. A leadership brand conveys your identity and distinctiveness as a leader. It communicates the value you offer. So it's really great definition. Communicates the value that you offer. So that is such an important aspect of personal branding, that you're creating a distinct and identifiable brand and brand leadership style. So really important. We'll talk about leadership style a little bit later. So today we're looking at your true brand leadership. And to assist you, I really just want you to go over and grab some of our free resources. We have a free workbook as well as a brand journal at Brand Yourself Blueprint. So if you really want to become a contrarian, I think it's a really important document. It's was a consultation, so in-person consultation that we developed into a resource for our clients, and it really is a prerequisite for all of our clients, and you will do it as a client and student of ours. So I encourage you to do that, because you can start looking at your values. We go through what is your existing brand, what is your ideal brand, what are some of the strategic areas that you can change immediately because what we want to do is think about what's negative and impacting negatively on our brand before we move forward. And then obviously as action steps 4, as part of that, is to execute those strategies that you might consider. And we're looking at your customer touch points, which we talked about yesterday. So today we're talking about action step 3, define your true brand leadership. And, as much as we're talking about brand leadership, we're really talking about your personal brand. And personal branding is defining your dreams and putting them into action. Your personal brand is an outer working of your life purpose. And so when we look at action step number 3, we look at 3 parts. Part A, the vision and the mission. Part B, the skill set. And part C, the mindset. And so each one of those parts is actually a 2-hour training on that specific issue. So 6 hours, and we're going to talk about it in 6 minutes or less. So one of the things that I often talk about is that your life experiences and life lessons are aligned to your life purpose or your brand purpose or brand journey. So it's really important that we start thinking about where you've developed your expertise, where you've developed your leadership, and how it may be part of the puzzle of what your true brand purpose is and your true leadership area. So obviously if you step into your authentic brand and your authentic leadership and it's your area of expertise, you really do shine, and it really becomes an area where you become distinctive and easily identifiable, and that means there's a lot of halo effect impact then, so we can premium price, you can gain a competitive edge, etc., etc. So let's jump back into this and talk about the purpose of a brand is really, there's two purposes. One is to differentiate and one is to achieve desired results. A good brand name will give you a good first impression. It's easy to remember. It evokes positive associations. So when we're thinking of you as a brand leader, do you leave a good impression? Are you easy to remember? Are you memorable? Do people remember who you are? Does it evoke a positive association? And by positive, I don't mean necessarily, what a great person, or it's like, is there respect and recognition for your expertise? Because sometimes you can be challenged by people and, they're not creating a warm, fuzzy feeling. They're giving you the iron sharpens the iron kind of suggestion. So sometimes they are iron and they're challenging you to sharpen up. So, it's one of those things. Does that person leave a positive impression? Does it invoke a positive association? And in time, that challenge will obviously invoke a positive association. So don't be afraid to challenge people. So elements of brand strategy. We're looking at two major elements for building your brand. One is your brand identity, so name, associations, messages, images, symbolism. And the other is your brand name awareness, what exists in the hearts and minds of your staff, your downline, your upline, your customers, employees, your suppliers. So let me just step back into brand identity. Obviously, people will know you by name, but they might also know you by, for example, a brand strategist, or, I was often labelled that I walk my talk. And so I can't tell you how many people have actually written that as part of the testimonials or part of the feedback that they've given about me. So walking your talk. So there'll be associations around you. What you're wearing. We remember Steve Jobs. We remember President Zelensky, wearing his green. Steve Jobs wearing his black skivvy and jeans. And so, that's reducing and minimising decision to fatigue. It's also creating a very positive psychology around a uniform look, and we talk about that in action step number 6. So brand name awareness really is about ensuring that you provide a constant flow of positive information about yourself. And it doesn't necessarily mean a tsunami of selfies, as I say. It really just means the idea is to create a level of brand awareness around your name, and that you continue to feed that. You can go for a little while without having these reminders, but these customer touch points are really important. And so we know, we've talked about it in action step number 1, that brand name awareness, there is a direct correlation between brand name awareness and market share. And so area of influence, or your sphere of influence, will increase. Your followers, your fan base, whatever, your students, your clients, the number of people will increase as your brand name awareness increases. And obviously, once we've established that, we've got this true purpose leadership. We're looking at being able to build your competitive edge, create brand equity, premium price your brand, etc. So look, I'm going to conclude there. I'm going to suggest that you grab some resources, go across to Brand Yourself Blueprint, download the workbook and the work journal, complete the work journal. Feel free to email them to me, rachel@rachelquilty.com or info@jumptheq.com.au.